Why is emetophobia nothing more than just a thinking habit? Hi everyone, my name is Alexandra and I am an emetophobia recovery coach. I personally overcame emetophobia and I'm here to help anyone and everyone that wants to just be done with this once and for all. And I'm here to tell you all the reasons why emetophobia recovery is possible for you. This quick video is only about why emetophobia is just a thinking habit. First of all, think back to any time in your life when you were having the best time and emetophobia did not exist. Maybe you were playing with your friends, maybe you were on a vacation, maybe you were enjoying food, or you were just at the mall. The point is that you were having a great time and vomiting was not even a thing on your mind. So how is it possible that the possibility of being sick is always on your mind now, but before you've been able to go through life and not even worry about it at all? The main question that some people ask themselves is it something that I was born with or something that I was susceptible to? Well, no, emetophobia is not like puberty, where puberty knows to hit at around 11, 12, 13 years old, but emetophobia is not something that waits for a while until it hits you. Emetophobia is just a way of thinking. So if you were able to think back to a time when you just were having the best time of your life and throwing up was not even a thing on your mind, that's because you didn't have emetophobia at the time. Or maybe you did, but you were not thinking in an emetophobic way. Thinking in an emetophobic way is simply just an avoidance behavior because of the root word, which in this case is emeto, meaning being sick. Phobia is the avoidance behavior, so the avoidance of emeto. What is a phobia? A phobia is a severe fear of a perceived threat. In this case, we say perceived because if throwing up was really the problem here, then everybody would be afraid of throwing up. They would be afraid of anything relating to it, the possibility of it. Pretty much everybody would be an emetophobe if that was the case. But since that's not true, being sick is not the problem. So dig a little bit deeper. What were you thinking about when you were thinking about said event? Let's take going to the mall, for example. You were just thinking about, what am I going to buy? Maybe I hope my mom buys me something. Maybe I have enough money to buy something. I love being at the mall. I can't wait to go into the store. Were you thinking about being sick at all? Well, no. And that was a conscious choice. The reason being for that, your mind believed to be safe at the mall. Your mind also believed that you can handle being at the mall. Your mind also believed that the mall had nothing to do with you feeling anxious or sick. So now think forward to the same event. How do you think about it now? Let's say that you do feel maybe anxious at the mall. Now your mind thinks the mall is the reason why I'm feeling anxious. Crowds are the reasons why I feel anxious. Maybe being away from home is the reason why I feel anxious. But here's the main question. Did the mall change? Well, no. It's still the same building. There's still crowds, most likely most of the same stores. So what did change? It was you. Now, this doesn't mean that emetophobia is your fault. If you had known that you should think of throwing up in a positive way, then you wouldn't have developed this way of thinking. All of this tends to happen on a subconscious level. So ask yourself this question. What is the thought that I had where everything started? Maybe you had an experience, or maybe somebody told you, or all of a sudden you just had a thought that you don't even remember where it came from. And the thought was, I don't like throwing up, I must avoid it. Usually that's the thought that happens. So then you subconsciously repeated that to yourself. When you encountered something similar to being sick, you said, oh no, I must avoid this because I must not throw up and I must avoid it. So you started avoiding these places or these events because you repeated to yourself, oh no, this is a possibility of being sick and I don't like throwing up, so I must avoid it. And then your bubble gets smaller. You start adding things to your list, foods, events, experiences, people that you don't want to go near because they provide a possibility of you being sick. And it all started with you saying, no, I must not be sick. I must avoid it. I don't like it. It all started with a decision from you. But once again, remember, it's not your fault. You didn't do this on purpose. You had no idea that it would have such an impact on yourself. So remember this. This is the good thing. When you start creating these beliefs, your mind does it with a simple thought. If you've ever heard of your parents telling you, be careful what you watch, be careful what you're looking at, or your friends, who your friends are, it's for this. Because that influence ends up cementing this subconscious thought and belief that you end up behaving as such, or you end up developing a behavior that you didn't even know you were doing. All of a sudden, you end up here now and say, I don't know how I got this far. It was all done on a subconscious level because your conscious self said, I'm gonna keep repeating this because this sounds right. So to your mind, avoiding being sick because you didn't like it sounded right. So it became a habit. So remember, the bottom line, if everybody thought the same way that you did, then everybody would have emetophobia. But they don't. Some people would have the same exact experience as you do, and they would say, yeah, I don't like it, but I don't have to avoid it because I know it's not realistic to. I know that I'm not going to be sick every time I eat. But for you, you say, I must avoid it at all costs. It's almost like it becomes your life mission. So how do you change it? You change it with new information, consistent work, and new beliefs. And this is why emetophobia is nothing more than just a perspective and how you think. Go watch my video on patterns and repetition as to how powerful your mind is to take one thought, blow it up out of proportion, and just cement it into your head where you feel like you can't shake it. But using that same strategy is exactly how you're going to overcome emetophobia. If this video was helpful, let me know. If you have any questions, I'm an emetophobia recovery coach and I would love to help you. Also, if you'd love to work with me, my link tree is in my bio and you can contact me directly. See ya!